Hi all, I am Bharatish. Welcome to this video. This is the part 4 in the series of Getting Started with Selenium. In the last video, we have written our first Selenium scripts, which opens Google Chrome and go to google.com and search for hello world and prints the title and closes it. So in this video, we will be going through each line and we will know what each line is doing. First, we will get rid of this print statement. Okay. So now the first line is doing system.setProperty WebDriver Chrome driver, and we are setting the path where our Chrome driver is. So this is the way to tell Selenium when we are saying new Chrome driver, take the driver from here to interact with the browser. We will get into know what drivers are. So as a basic, what driver does is Selenium automates our browser and it simulates all the user interactions such as click, open, close on the browser. Since we manually are not interacting with the browser, we need a middleman who can interact with the browser. So that's the job of these drivers. That's why we see driver for each of the browsers. So if we need a Chrome browser, we need a Chrome driver. We need a Firefox browser, we need a Firefox driver, but it is called Gecko driver. We need IE browser, then we need another driver for that one. So the main job of this driver is whatever the interaction that we say programmatically, it will simulate those things on the browser. So it will take our programmatic input and it will convert into the instruction that are understood by the browser. So as we need a Chrome browser in this example, we have set the Chrome driver path. And the second thing is WebDriver driver is equal to Chrome driver. So here we are initializing our browser. So if we have some basic knowledge of Java, if we see WebDriver is an interface and Chrome driver is one of the implementations of that interface. So all the methods are predefined in this WebDriver interface. So whichever the browser we are going to use, those that implementation that we will be using. So that's why when we saw on the Selenium official website, it is called language bindings for WebDriver. Okay. So when we say WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver, our Chrome driver is initialized. And next we will say driver.google.co.in. So in this step we are telling this driver, go to this location. So remember, let me show you. I'll comment all the lines below this one. Shortcut in Eclipse is Control and / and we will run only until this point. So if we say run as Java application, if we say as soon as we say new Chrome driver, a driver instance is open with a blank URL. Okay. So the next line of code says driver to go to the specified URL. A simple trick here. See, if we hover on this set property, we get to see what this method does. So these are called Java sources. So this says what this set property will do. But if we hover on this get method, or if we hover on this driver, we will not get any information, because this we have included only the class files, but we don't have the sources. So if we control click on this get, we don't get any information. So if we remember, we have, when we downloaded Selenium, there was one more jar called client combined sources.jar. So this contains all the source files. So we'll do the same thing. We'll copy the jar, we'll put it on our lib folder, and we click on attach source, and we say workspace location, browse, and we say sources.jar and OK. So if we see now, when we hover on this get method, we are able to see what it does, and if we control click on that method, we can see the source as well. So this will be handy, and this will be informative when we go along learning Selenium. Okay, so now the second line does, so it says our driver where to go, which location to go. And so since we are using Java, which is an object oriented language, think WebDriver as the object representation of our browser. So WebDriver is the object representation of our browser. So and it has methods like how we normally interact with the browser. So now we will understand what this WebDriver is. In little detail, we will get into deep again later. So now if we see WebDriver is an interface that we saw, and all major browser specific implementations are available like Chrome, Firefox, IE or Safari, and it is the object representation of the browser. And it has methods like open, which we saw the constructor itself. When we say new Chrome driver, new browser window will be open, and go to any specific URL, we saw this method get, and we saw this method as well close, which closes the browser, and get title, we saw this method as well. And it has several other methods like refresh, go back, go forward, minimize, maximize, etc. So moving on, we'll go to the next line. So now here if we see, we are calling this find element method on the driver object. So whenever we see driver object, think of it as a browser representation. So on that browser we are saying find element, and how to find element that we are specifying. So whatever this by is, this by provides so many mechanisms to find an element in a browser. So now one such mechanism is called name, and we say find the element which by the name Q, so which returns a web element, and we store it in this reference. So again, if we see, web element is also an interface, which makes sense because we don't know what the driver is unless we initialize it. So, and each browser has their own mechanism to find element and represent elements. So this find element implementation will be dependent on this the driver implementation that we will be providing. So that's why web element is also an interface. So once we get this search input, now we'll uncomment the next line. We see this input has a method like send keys. So again, how we saw for driver, we will see some information for web element as well. So again, it's also an interface. The implementation comes from the implementation of WebDriver. So if we say Chrome driver or Firefox, from that implementation, the implementation of this web element will come. And this is the object representation of an element inside the browser, and it has methods like click, input text, we saw send keys, clear, and we can know whether it is displayed, is selected, and etc. We'll get into each of these methods once we go along this. So now we uncomment the next line. So now we saw get title is a method on this driver which returns the title of the browser, and in the next line we are simply printing it. Next line we are closing the driver. Next we are quitting from the driver. So this is the code walkthrough of this particular example. In the upcoming videos we'll get into the different methods inside driver and different methods inside web element. And in the beginning of previous video I saw we will optimize this line of code, because so let's say if you zip this project, or if you save this project somewhere else and you opened it somewhere, this WebDriver may not be in the same path as it is now. So now what we will do, and in Java we have a property called user directory. So if let's say we will print that property, and we'll say system dot get property, and the property name is user which represent users directory. So for time being I'll comment out all the other line. So now if we print this property, we will see it gives the path until where the project is there. So now we can append this one only, and we will say inside this project folder we have a folder called drivers, and inside that one we have our chrome driver.exe. It has to be in double quotes. So now say we will run this one more time. So now we can use this value instead of hard coding this one. So by that, wherever we use our project, as long as we have a drivers folder inside it, and as long as we have chrome driver exe inside it, this code is going to work. So I'll uncomment it again, and instead of this hard coded value, I'll paste the value that we have done. So, and after this one, to make sure our things are working fine, I'll run this code one more time. Okay, things are working as expected. Thank you for watching this video.